don't tune out, tune in, because I think you'll appreciate the humour of what we're going to talk about today.
And if you want to join the conversation, you can call us on 01872 228844 or email us at hello@thisischaos.co.uk. And we always talk about, we de-stress in the car, don't we? So on the way back.
Yeah, we have like funny little rituals about stress, don't we? But yeah, in the car, we have a bit of a
download.
It's normally because we're, and I hate the phrase women of an age, but we're midlife women with a lot of stuff that goes on in our lives. And so we moan about our husbands. We moan about the dishes, the dishwasher, dog walking, ridiculous guidelines around get something for dinner and actually
every day.
So all of that, and then cost of living, don't even get me going. So today maybe we'll talk about anger management as well.
How to cope with it. But first we're going to talk about functional medicine. So do you want to talk about what is functional medicine?
Oh, do you know, this came up. It came up in chat. In how we describe it. So functional medicine, there are actually many different people that think it's different things. Yeah. So from our point of view, this is our perspective of functional medicine. It is around whole person health and prevention, which is what we do for a living. That's what we care about. In a nutshell, it is about sleep, stress, genetics, sunshine, environment. It's around how you move and how you rest. So essentially that's it. So, and it'll be one thing that affects everything, like sleep, for example. I'm touching my friend who's struggling with lack of sleep right now. So it affects one thing, and it's the ripple effect. So if we can fix sleep, then hopefully some of the other aspects of your life can improve. So functional medicine is it sounds a bit woolly. What we should be doing is, instead of going to the GP for a pill for everything, what we should be doing is being proactive. So got a pain in my back, maybe move more or see a chiropractor or exercise, do something, massage, something to relieve it. It doesn't work. Then maybe you need a bit more clinical attention. So it might be more physiotherapy based to fix it, or it could be something quite intrinsic, and then by which point you see a expert or consultant. But what normally happens, people bypass all of that stuff and just go straight to the GP for the pill. And the pill doesn't fix the problem. So it's about the root cause. And the same goes with, you've got abdominal pain. So rather than looking at what you're eating, you go straight to the doctor for a pill. And the same thing happens. It turns out that you've got, a sensitivity or an intolerance to wheat, for example. Well, that could be rectified right the way up the scale by you adjusting and monitoring what you eat. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It's about root cause. So, what is causing this, and let's fix that bit, and the ripple effect is phenomenal and really positive. That's what functional medicine's about. Actually, what we should say, that's like living in the old days. So it's, eat seasonally. That's me picking something off a tree. Eat off the land, eat locally. Sleep, follow the patterns of the sun and the moon, and hopefully, don't get me wrong, life was short and intense and highly stressed to some degree, but equally our bodies were better nourished to a certain degree because our bodies, we haven't evolved. We're still cave women at heart, aren't we? Does any of that make sense?
It does, and it's more important these days, isn't it? Because it's so, GPs are so overstretched. And only yesterday we were talking to somebody who said that there are many GP practices closing down because GPs are so overworked, and there aren't GPs to replace the current ones who are leaving. So it's really important that we look after ourselves more. We take that, we have that accountability of our own bodies.
So here's a question. Is there a cost to looking after yourself?
There can be, But also, well, yes, it depends, doesn't it? It depends how much you want to go down that route. It doesn't have to be.
Isn't that why the NHS here?
No.
The NHS is here to give us free healthcare, isn't it?
You're challenging me now. No, it's not.
Am,
well, it is. So, but it's for those people, and again, it's more obvious now, isn't it? It's got to be for those people who are in dire need. You or I, and we've just had this massive conversation, haven't we, about how do we look after ourselves, and it is about what can we do for ourselves first. Do that tick box. So. And functional medicine is how, where, when, why, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so my sleep. I had insomnia for years and I used to stress about it. Now it's a thing and it just is a thing. And yes, I'm tired. I don't stress about it. I don't kind of, my life doesn't revolve around it. So what can I do about that? I can make sure I go to bed at a reasonable time. And I set my alarm to remind me to go to bed. Don't watch the news for another half an hour. That might stress me out. Have I had a drink? Have I eaten something so my blood sugars don't dip sometime? You know, some people are really reactive to blood sugars and things at night. I wear earplugs, so because I'm such a light sleeper, I cancel all that noise out. My bedroom is quite cool. I've got a light duvet on. I don't nap in the day, even if I'm really, really tired. I don't nap in the day. And so, you know, looking at all the things that we can do is really important so that we can address those factors rather than going to the GP and they say, all right, well, have you tried this? Have you tried that? It's not a waste of an appointment, but go in ready and have ticked off those things so you can really get to the root cause of that problem or the problem that you're facing.
So, so for our viewers, how do we begin root cause medicine, functional medicine? Where does a person start this journey?
I think you've got to identify those bits, those parts of your life that are causing you a problem, and then just look at one area. You can't boil an ocean. And
that's my favourite
That's
phrase,
my favourite phrase. So one thing, what is the one thing that is causing you the most stress? Or look at it, and is there a trigger that then will make the rest kind of fall down?
So many people, I was going to say women our age. That's twice I've said that on the show, and I hate that phrase. But I'm an emotional eater, always have been. So I'm way more conscious of it now. It's like celebrate, yay, cake. Miserable, cake. Yeah. Actually, I don't really like cake enough. I'm not a cake person, am I? Normally it's booze or chocolate-doobies or crisps and dip. So it's like Friday night, chips and dip and a glass of wine. So that's my go-to. Yeah. But that's my off the clock. So I've totally set that as like, that is my off the clock. So I'm entitled to it. And actually that's not true, because when I'm back on the clock on Monday morning, I'll be sorry for the chips, dip, wine.
That's the thing, isn't it? You know,
it's easy to invent excuses.
Yes,
isn't
it is, and you don't want to feel bad about doing something that brings you joy, but you know is not that great for you. But it's not bad for you, in moderation.
So going back to our car journey today. We had a moan. God love our families, but we did have a moan about our families. And in my world, you know, the cost of living is really expensive now, and it's small things. And I don't know if we got viewers watching who are the same, but you know, have you got family around you that try on a t-shirt, decide they're not going to wear it, throw it on the side, and then it goes back in the laundry, or can't be asked to pack it away, so it ends up being recycled through the laundry?
Yeah, that's my lot.
That's the time thing.
Don't you sorry,
understand. See, even Siri said they don't understand. But that's the type of thing that would sort of trigger stress in our house. It's a small thing, but it just gets under your skin.
Yeah, and rightly so. You know, you don't want to do the washing, and I do that for my youngest, and I even fold it. He's an adult. I fold it and put it in a basket for him, and then if I dare to go in his room, because it's horrendous,
floor dry,
it's on the floor, and then he would put it back in the wash, and I fold it up and put it back in his clean stuff. And it's just like, why should we clean it, wash it, use the heating to dry it?
Well, that's the other thing, isn't it? It's, you know, I think maybe for a long time we've taken a lot of things for granted.
Yeah, we have, completely.
You know, to do the laundry. Now I'm conscious of the washing cycles, how much my washing machine is costed, my tumble dryer. And we're tumble dryer users. And do you know, that's a weird thing. We used to live in the States, and two of the states that we used to live in America, washing on the line was banned.
Yeah.
So, sorry, it was completely banned in one state. In the other state, you could put the washing out before 8 a.m., but had to be back off the line before 8 a.m. And that was hilarious because it was quite hot anyway. So you'd pop your washing out and it'd be done in half an hour. It'd be lovely. So my family tumble dry for that reason. We're still in that headspace. But actually, we invested in loads of clothes horses.
Yeah, you have
so we've got them everywhere, errors everywhere around the house now, chucking stuff on. But my house just smells iffy. Do you know what I mean?
But I used to go to your house, and when you got outside, you could smell the washing because of the tumble dryer.
Can you? That's really funny.
Yeah, but we always put the washing out. I love putting the washing out, and I'm a bit sad when we get to spring and I can put my washing out. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so excited.
There's nothing nicer, is it?
And
than,
it smells so
your sheets
lovely.
blowing in the breeze.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It's my favourite.
But it is tying it in with the weather. And
these are the small things that make us happy. We're talking about how did we turn that
Stress.
around? You talked about stress, and now we're talking about how much we love laundry.
Yeah, laundry and putting it out. How sad is that?
It's just lovely, isn't it? But it does. So going back to functional medicine, one of the things that we look at a lot is how stressed somebody is in their life. And often when you first approach the subject of being stressed, many people will disregard it or deny it completely, don't they?
Yeah,
Pat?
or they don't realise they're stressed.
So they can't see it. So sometimes you have to ask the right questions to provoke a conversation that might actually make them think, actually, there is quite a lot of stress in my life.
Yeah.
So when, mental health awareness, we're all very conscious now of people's states of mind, and how important it is not just to say you're okay, but to ask that maybe 3 or 4 times before finally they will go, actually, no, I'm not okay. And don't underestimate how powerful stress can be on your body. And I'll give you an example. When you are in a high state of stress, you are producing a lot of hormones that you wouldn't normally produce at that level for that period of time. So, like adrenaline, that feeling when your lips stick to your teeth and you've got palpitations and you're so mad. That's supposed to be a momentary reaction in your body. It's not a period of time, and many people are living with sort of that kind of constant fear.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're worried about the bills coming in. We got Christmas coming. Everything is expensive, and like we are worried, and that level of worry, and it's not helping because it's the top down. All the messages out there are fear, cost of living, and all of that. What happens is it will affect your health. So that's why we're here.
Yeah, and you just brought me to think about, so yesterday we were watching the news, or was it the day before, and they're saying, we need to expect that our tax will go up. And that's another thing that we're going to be worrying about. And so, it reminded me of when we went into lockdown, and I used to watch the news like vividly, avidly watching the news, and it just becomes so much part of your life that you live that stress all day. So we stop watching it, and I just watch it once a day, and then we turn it off and not worry about it, but it wasn't constantly in your mind thinking about it. You get on with the rest of your day, and I think we've got to do that, haven't we? We've got to learn to put it in a box. There's all sorts of ways to deal with stress. So put it in a box, write it down, however you deal with it, and it's not that you're forgetting about it, but you're not letting it. You're not letting your life revolve around it.
So then that comes back to it always the subject of mindfulness and meditation.
Yeah.
So I've been teaching meditation practice since I was 20. I was young. Long story, but that's not today. That involved crystals and chakras and all sorts. Today, I don't look like a meditation teacher. I'm not a tree hugger. And that was really the concept. People would, if you talk about mindfulness and meditation, I think there is still a stigma to it for many that you have to be in a yoga studio on a mat, funny hand shapes and making funny noises. It's actually not true at all. So when Pat talks about being on the radio or being on TV and listening to the TV and the stress of television and what you're hearing with the news, actually what you're then doing is in your brain you're thinking bigger picture, and you're worrying about what you're hearing and the impact. You're thinking about everything else. One of the joys of mindfulness is that actually it's not necessarily putting it in a box. It's about being in this moment right now. And when you're in this moment right now, you give yourself a chance to just bring your stress hormones down a bit. And when that starts to happen, you start to kind of go, okay, I'm getting a bit more focus and clarity. And you see it in the movies, when somebody says, take a breath or take a knee. And intuitively we do it when somebody's upset. We go, just breathe. And we do all of those things intuitively, but actually it is mindfulness. It is about bringing you back to this moment. Catch your breath, listen, just catch your breath and listen. Okay, and you can feel it just seeping away, can't you? So mindfulness practice, I think it's like, when we look at the whole life cycle and we look at functional medicine, that for me would be one of the starting points, would be to talk about the stress management side of it, and to go, irrespective of whether you claim you're stressed or not, I believe that we should really spend time focusing on mindfulness practice, because even if you believe that you're not stressed, the world is having an impact on you, and others are having an impact on you, and all of that does enhance your stress hormones. So do you want to have a go?
Yeah, go on.
Or should we move on?
Should we come back to it?
We'll
come back to it. So
okay.
So how often should we do it?
What, mindfulness?
Yeah, and when? So can we do it anywhere, or does it have to be, do I have to go and lie on my bed, or do I have to go and sit in my chair?
No, I think there comes to a point when you can literally learn to zone out. Zone out to zone in. So not when you're driving.
No,
so
obviously.
A couple of health and safeties. But actually it's learning to focus in on what's going on with you right now, acknowledging what's on around you and not being bothered by it. I think that's the best way to do it. So you can be mindful on a bus, you can be mindful going for a walk. You know what I'm like as a passenger in your car. I'm a nightmare, because I'm like, oh, look at the trees, look at the light, look at the shape, look at the colour, and I'm like, I'm totally in that moment. I'm not thinking about anything else in life. I'm utterly focused. So you practice it anywhere. And it doesn't have to be an hour-long thing. No. It can be literally 60 seconds worth of breath work.
Yeah, just a moment.
Yeah.
And then, so before we move on to talk about gin and tonics,
my
first,
favourite thing.
let's hear from some people who have wanted to join in the conversation.
Right.
And Sarah in Lou says, so when I'm really stressed, the thought of trying to find time to do mindfulness stresses me out even more. So how am I supposed to fit it in? And we've kind of just talked about that a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah, there's a technique called box breathing. So 60-second box breathing. So imagine there's a box. So firstly, like Pat quoted earlier on, you can't eat the elephant. No, you said you can't boil an ocean. I also say you can't eat an elephant in one sitting. So if you're massively stressed, go, excuse me, if you're massively stressed and then thinking, oh my God, I've got to make time to do this as well, just give yourself a second, sit down. 60 seconds is not going to hurt. Think about a box and think about 4 parts to breathe in. So there's the breath in and breath out. We know that bit. But actually at the end of each breath, there's a pause. So let's try it, shall we?
Yeah, go on.
So make yourself comfortable. That would be the next thing. And then don't worry. And then inhale. So a breath in. Don't worry where it's coming into, nostrils or mouth. Breathe in and notice there's a pause. And then breathe out. And there's a pause. So follow it in your mind's eye, a box. So there's the breath in, breath, pause, breath out, breath, pause. and continue. So you breathe in to a pause, and breathe out to a pause. You continue that. You can refine it by working on breathing through your nostrils, breathing in through your nostrils and out through the back of your throat. What does that look like? It could be through your mouth or through your nostrils. So it's okay, but there's no rocket science to that bit. Don't worry about right or wrongs. Just focus on the breath work. And what will happen is, in this 60 seconds, your heart rate will calm. Your hormones will change. Your clarity becomes stronger. And your overall sense of well-being improves. What can you not enjoy with that?
I know, it's lovely, isn't it? And we always say, don't we, just take a breath. And then you can literally take a breath for 60 seconds or however long. And I think, and what we hear is the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And like you said earlier, the quicker you can flip into that just mindfulness, that relaxed state. And it's so good for you, isn't it?
You mentioned noise cancelling, your headphones at night. I have noise cancelling earphones.
Yeah.
They're like the best thing because I just pop them in now, and it just enables me to switch off. And even if it's for again 60 seconds, it's just enough time for me to stop the noise and me to go, oh right, okay,
Focus.
Got it. There you go. Come on then.
So we've got another question from Louise in Launceston, and she says, I struggle to sleep at night because I just replay my day in my head and then I start thinking about all of the things that I've got to do tomorrow. And as a single mum, I'm afraid to admit I'm struggling, as we're supposed to manage everything, aren't we? I don't want to be a failure.
Right, okay, so let's do the bigger picture first. So the single mum thing, saying she's afraid to admit struggling. Oh my God, it's okay not to be okay. So from a mental health point of view, it's okay not to be okay. And that's not just as a single parent, anybody. You know, we can't carry the burden of the world all the time. And you're right, you still got to get up, you still got to show up for your kids, you still got to do all of that stuff, you still got to do all those things. This is when journaling becomes a really handy tool, because sometimes you can put your thoughts down in that book and then it's done for the day. So, and here's the thing, single mum from Launceston, here's the thing, it's okay to be selfish. So yes, you've got to do it all again. And this is a conversation we've had about chores versus maintenance. You know that there are things that you have to do to get through the day. Reflection's always a good thing. So actually celebrate that bit, looking back on what your day's been like, is really helpful, because it does help you see the pattern of the day, and it does help you become better at what you do. So reflection's a good thing. Journaling is a great thing, but it's okay to be take time out for yourself. So you can do an off-the-clock thing. People use physical things like light a candle, or like certain pajamas, a certain smell, certain things that you can do in place, which means mum's off the clock, this is my time now, okay? And that is really, really important to anybody. My dear friend, she used to literally stop talking about work as she got to the top of the hill. And that was her thing. And then she taught me that. So I like candles. I have flowers in my house, but the candles or change the lighting is me off the clock and now into I'm at home relaxing phase. So, and it just helps having those physical tools to help me switch off part of the day and switch on to another part of me. It really does help me with my relaxation and manage my stress.
Yeah, and I used to be one of those people who struggles at night, because I would replay everything in my head, and when you've got a busy life, you can't help but replay everything. Could I have done it better? What have I got to do tomorrow? And then I am a catastrophizer. So
yeah, definitely.
I catastrophize things, or I used to, you know, what would happen if, and then what will happen? And it just becomes a bit of a non-ending cycle, never-ending cycle. So I would write it down. And we don't kind of advocate for phones by your bed, but if in the middle of the night I was thinking about it and I couldn't stop, I'd do a note in my phone. I've parked it, and then I go to sleep. And then it's not that you're not worrying about it. I'll come back to it tomorrow. So yeah, but all those things that Helen said about coping with these stresses in our lives, just think about them and just try and put them into practice. We love candles, don't we? I love candles. My husband says, how many candles can you have? You can never have too many, can you?
I got a little
Rude.
stockpile, I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, every time we go out shopping, you buy a candle, don't you?
Do
No,
I?
it's a good thing.
I do.
It's a good thing.
Oh, it turns out that I've switched one addiction to another.
Yeah.
Oh, before we go on, because I know we're going to talk about something lovely in a minute. I wanted to share with you because I think it's a major breakthrough for me. I've had a really tough menopause and I've had a really bad 7 years, health wise. I'm off antidepressants and anxiety medication. That's massive.
Yay, go, Helen.
That's
Go,
massive.
yeah, it
so
is.
I can't, I've said it to quite a few people and they go, okay, it's huge.
It is huge.
For me. I was so low and so sad and so down and my life was so awful for me at a certain point in my time that I'm really excited that I've had to go through a little bit of cold turkey. It's not that. It's a withdrawal.
Yeah, withdrawal.
Yeah. So not massive, like this wooziness that I've had to deal with as I've been coming off them, but actually I feel fab, and I'm really chuffed. It's taken 7 years, and I wasn't quite high meds at one point, so it's But
you've worked hard at it. You've worked hard at your health, haven't you?
I have.
At maintaining your health, which I
have.
think is a massive
Yeah.
part of it,
Yeah.
because you haven't just kind of let it go. You've really worked hard at all different parts of your health. So
I think this is how I am now. It's like, so I'm going to celebrate this because I think that's such a big part of us as people. Mental health has got such a big part to play, and it used to be like this add-on, but actually your mental health is as important as your physical health. That I'm going to celebrate that and also start to move forward to like phase 2. So the next bit for me is to, and I know we chatted about this in earlier on today, but the next bit for me is to start to go back to managing my weight, because I know my hormones were sending me in a different route, so I couldn't manage my weight well, and so were the antidepressants for me. So now that my mental health is stable and I'm no longer medicated for it, my emotional well-being is quite high. I'm ready to do the next thing, and I just wanted to share that because I know there are people that want to do the journey with us. So
it's like not being scared about it, taking your time
just
with it,
being honest and being patient.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So still to come it's Alcohol Awareness Week on the 15th of November.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, and that's
interesting.
near my hubby's birthday, but on your hubby's birthday, so it might involve some alcohol. So what's your favourite tipple, Helen? Actually, Helen got me into, it was Helen's fault that I liked Prosecco. She introduced me to Prosecco, and it is.
Do you know that was about 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Well, it's longer, I think.
Was it really?
Yeah, because I did my body vibe training 10 years
She
ago.
came round the house. She'd never drunk Prosecco before. Well, to be honest, it was Prosecco's never always been around, is it?
No,
it became a thing.
Yeah.
Like the alternative to champagne, didn't it? And it was hilarious. Yes.
And I've never been a heavy drinker. I've never been much of a drinker, but I went round to Helen's one night, and we have a group of friends called the Daves, and we're all called Dave, and I think the Daves were round, weren't they?
That's another story.
Yeah, and we were drinking Prosecco, and we had a lovely night, and I think we got into pyramids and things, and I stood up, and
what she means is we were building pyramids.
Yeah,
we were literally
bodies,
human pyramid formation.
We were. And
Prosecco.
I stood up, and oh my word, I felt quite ill. And then after that, for a few years, we'd be on Prosecco, wouldn't we? And then it started giving me some little heart palpitations and things.
Little heart palpitations,
huge. Yeah,
Jeez.
huge. So I had ambulances out and all sorts, like oyster festivals and things. But
Excuse
so
the
now I
cough.
don't drink it so much. But so what's your favourite one?
My go-to, I love a good glass of red wine. I've always loved a good glass of red wine. You know, cocktails, obviously.
Yes.
Espresso martini.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is
And
a mood thing.
they've got 2 for $10 somewhere in Falmouth as
Have
well.
they?
Yeah.
I love an espresso martini.
Yeah.
And I've only discovered those in
They
the
are
last few
nice.
years, in spite of my fear of caffeine.
Yes. Especially at night.
But they're so good. I had one on Saturday afternoon. It was lovely.
I
It was
saw
cold
that.
and wintry. And then me and
Mulled
Tony.
wine.
Oh, mulled
Mulled
wine.
wine. Mulled cider we had
Bailey's
a few
and
years.
I. Ooh.
Yeah.
So here we go. So we're
we're
now
off.
talking about how lovely it is, but it's not for everyone.
No, it's not.
And I think the conversation was about weight gain and changes, wasn't it?
yeah.
And dehydration.
Yeah.
If you want to drink but drink less, but you're in one of those gangs, you know, when your mates are all boozers, switching water with wine, not switching it out, but having more water in between the wine is a really nice trick. And then I've always had, they're less hard rules now, but as a personal trainer and a clinical exercise specialist, I would be around bodies all day, and I used to have hard rules. So I wouldn't drink on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because I knew that I would be leaning over clients, or, you know, and I had to be on my game. So you can't for a second.
No, you can't smell of it,
wouldn't
can
consider
you?
alcohol, and I know there's a lot of people that do that. And there's a lot of people that are habitual, like routine and rituals. So having a glass of wine whilst cooking is really common.
Yeah.
But actually drinking every day, and it's not just the one glass, it becomes 2, and then suddenly you're 3 or 4 bottles over a week. So the British Heart Foundation, the recommendations are, I'm going to say 1 bottle and 125ml glass a week. So that's essentially, you can have a 125ml glass of wine a day, according to guidance from the British Heart Foundation. However, who actually measures?
Yeah, you don't. And when you're at home drinking,
And the glasses are massive.
Yeah,
aren't
they are. And
They
I
just get
don't drink.
bigger.
Yeah, I don't drink at home.
No.
It's not something that we've ever done really. Husband will have a beer, and like the boys will have a beer occasionally,
Yeah.
but it's not something that I would do. But yeah, when you're pouring out, it's probably 2 measures at least,
Oh,
or
yeah.
3.
Yeah.
And then the Prosecco, you just keep pouring, don't you? You just
'cause-
don't.
Because the bubbles go flat, so you've got to finish the bottle, right?
And when you're talking and drinking, it's gone, and then your friend comes and tops you up, or
but
you know.
to be honest, me and you never know what to say to each other.
We can talk for
Like,
Britain.
honestly, we do talk for Britain.
Yeah,
But
we talk a
yeah,
load of
so that's important to understand. I think liver function is you know, fatty livers are really common with menopausal women, so it is part of the hormonal change. You add into the mix not great diet and a lot of alcohol, and things start to shift quickly. So it is important to, again, you know, it is all about the life balance. We are a nation of boozers and bingers, so we need to get better at how we drink. And who we drink with. The other thing is, it's really expensive.
Oh, it is, yeah.
So what I see is the younger generation, they do the
They do
Prinkies and
Prinkies, pre-drinks, yeah.
The pre-drinks, so they all get loaded before they even go out the door.
Because it costs a lot of money to drink when you're out. And so what's your feeling? I know my feelings about drinking and then driving. And I know people say, I can have 1 or 2 before I drink and before I drive. But you know, we know people who have lost families, don't we, from drink driving. So what are your thoughts? I think we shouldn't be drinking at all when we're driving.
If they brought in that rule
I'd be really
it would
happy.
be a better rule.
Yes, I think
because
so.
I think so many people, you know, I've had a glass of wine and drive.
Yes.
But I don't. I would rather not do it at all.
Yeah.
If they put in a law to say that's it, absolute no alcohol and driving, I think that's the safest thing we should do for our planet.
And especially
really.
with more people drinking at home, drinking at friends' houses, you don't know how much you've had. So I think it's much safer.
No, and it's so easy to, because that's the other thing, you know, it builds your confidence, and then you go, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. And really, are you? So, I would like to, but that's my personal thing, only because we do know of people who've lost family through drink driving. You know, I think there should be better rules in place. But then that, you know, it's about personal responsibility too. You know, it's like those hard-hitting campaigns that came out a few years ago, hopefully shook some sense, but they only do that at Christmas, don't they? That needs to be all the year round that they do that. Walk, you know, we've got active transport now. Get on your feet, walk, do more on your feet. Oh, I thought you were going to ask me another question.
Oh, I can do. So I suppose we can really keep an eye on it by tracking. So just over a fortnight maybe, and just write down how much you drink if you're worried about it. So that's the thing, isn't it? If you're starting to get concerns about it, or somebody's asking you those questions, how much are you drinking?
I used to think, I think I got to a point where I was drinking too much. I can honestly say that now that I'm through that phase. But now I'd rather have a cup of tea.
A nice cup of tea.
I love a cup of tea. And the other night, I phoned ahead and said, I'm on my way home. Can I have a hot chocolate? I never drink hot chocolate either. So my kids were like, what's wrong with you, Mum?
Like, and of course there's Stoptober, isn't there? And
and
all the
indigestion,
other ones.
You know, intrinsically there's things that will stop you. So as you get older, you get indigestion, you get heartburn. It makes you fat. I mean, why would you?
But I've got a friend, and she kind of says, oh, I can't lose weight, and I'm like, well, try stopping the alcohol. No way. So that to me is a flag. No, I can't. So it's like, why can't you?
Well, it's not just the individual, it's the environment they might be around as well, and that's quite hard. And it's the same with diet. You know, you get saboteurs that, you know, and I did it to you yesterday. I had a bit of cake, and the cake didn't count if she had some of mine, but if she had some of her own, it counted. So what did I do? I gave her some of mine. You know, because, you know, why... You do it out of kindness, like, we'll share. Saboteurs. And do you know what? I've done loads of work around this, and it is, you're on a diet, you will change. To me, if you lose weight, because you'll be all thin and lovely. And that affects me. So I won't say that out loud. I will project it by going, just have a bit of cake. So sabotage is a real big, she will change. She will not want to be my friend if I'm the big fat friend. That's how, this is perception. This is a true thing. When we study weight management and obesity, that is the type of thing. It's not always what's going on with you. And here's a really good tip. As my friend, I find losing weight or maintaining weight or having healthy options is really hard for me. I really, really want you to respect my decision. I've said no to cake. Please don't share it with me, because this is really hard. So, and that really helps.
And it's the same with anything in your life, isn't it? So exercise, you know, I used to go to exercise, and I had a friend, and she was like, oh, why are you doing that? And it really was lovely for me, and I'd always wanted to do dancing and exercise, and for me it was the massive joy, and it was a real change in my life, but it only took up part of my life. I could still be that friend, and I could still give her that time,
but it's more about her, and
it
how
was
she was completely
and I lost weight, so I was slightly different.
She's all thin, she's never going to be nice when she's thin.
Right. And you can't be my friend because you can't drink Prosecco anymore.
So listen, if you've got any questions around mindfulness and meditation or any of the subjects that we've talked about today, always contact us. We love having a natter. Can you tell?
Yeah.
And, you know, we talk about menopause. And so if you're a female out there and is really interested in sort of like the life journey of women and the menopausal journey from perimenopause, menopause and beyond, get in touch with us. We've got a really cracking group on Facebook called Menopause Muse. And there's a lot of education in there, but there's also a lot of silliness and a place to be heard. And I think, you know, that's what our Woman's Hour is about. We just want to create a lovely space for our people to listen and be heard and connect with the reality of life and the chaos that we bring to chaos.
So we'll be back again on the 6th of December at the usual time of noon.
So we will be celebrating. It's going to be a nice Christmassy one, but we actually, you know, interesting conversation will happen, and it is around domestic violence because, and this is words of our Nikki who works in the office, Christmas time is a place for knocking people about. And when she said that to me, it was like, oh yeah, she's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So we are going to be talking to the Women's Centre and talking about just, you know, checking safety and making sure that you know that there are people out there to support you during what might be the festive season for some, but for others it can be a time of severe stress and hardship.
So enjoy bonfire night, have a mocktail, that's always an option. The Chaos team will be at bonfire night in Falmouth, and follow us on www.icareimove.com or email us info@icareimove.com or call the Chaos team. They're wonderful as usual.
As you are. We love you and we love being here. So we shall see you in December. Take care now.
Bye.